Welcome, everyone, to the Insurance Perspectives podcast. This is a special episode with two members of the HawkSoft sales team. We have Paul
Hey, Kenny.
and Linda.
Hey, Kenny, good to be here.
Great to have both of you. We're going to be talking with two of my favorite people on our sales team. I feel very lucky that we got a chance to sit down with them for an hour. First up, we have Paul Moyes. Paul is the Vice President of Sales at HawkSoft. He started his career in insurance 25 years ago as an agent for Northwestern Mutual Life. He opened and operated two successful insurance agencies in the great state of Idaho that I can definitely locate on a map before joining HawkSoft in 2013. Paul first joined HawkSoft's development department as a product owner, where he helped shape the functionality of the system for over 4 years. In 2018, he switched to sales and has led our legendary sales team ever since. In his free time, he loves fishing, hunting, boating, and mountain biking. There are a million other outdoor activities that I have seen photos of. Those were the top hits. Our other guest today is Linda Anderson. Linda is a senior territory sales manager at HawkSoft. She joined the HawkSoft team in 2007 after a 17-year career in an insurance agency that used the HawkSoft platform. Before joining the insurance industry, she was the vice president of a real estate development firm in Phoenix, Arizona. That is a fact I did not know, and I am really happy that our producer, Jeff, put it in the introduction because I love learning new facts about people at HawkSoft that I've worked for nearly a decade. She is a cornerstone of the HawkSoft sales team that is led by Paul. Linda has two sons and likes to visit the beautiful Florida Gulf Coast, where one of them lives. She also enjoys hitting the open road in her Mustang convertible and is a fantastic dog mom to her pup Daisy, who she noted had been taken care of before we started recording. Thank you both for being here with us today. Linda, I want to start with a focus on you because I think that your story informs a lot of the trajectory of the sales team and how HawkSoft approaches sales in general. So, Linda, how did the first conversation go with Paul Hawkins when he asked if you wanted to join the HawkSoft sales team?
Well, I had talked to Paul several times before I interviewed with him. And one of the reasons I actually approached HawkSoft to work here was because of the people I worked with during the implementation of HawkSoft at my agency. So right there, I knew the culture of the company was outgoing and family oriented. My first interview with Paul Hawkins, and remember there was a 3-hour time difference and it's on a Friday. He called me at 3 o'clock Friday afternoon Pacific time, which is 6 o'clock my time on a Friday. And he caught me at the middle of the Elder Beerman shoe department because I was winding down from a really bad week at the office. So I sat there and we chatted, and Paul says, I have your resume here. I have an opening. I want some feet on the ground or some folks on the ground here in Ohio, which is where I live and where I was at. And I said, sales department? I went, that just rang, what do you want to say, alerts to me, quotas. Sure. Hard sells. I've been in insurance for 17 years, but never took a hard stance on selling anybody anything. And I just was not comfortable with that. And I told him that. And Paul says, well, can you show the product? Can you show him? I said, well, sure, I can do that. And he goes, can you talk to them and build a relationship and learn what they need and what they're struggling with and what problems do they have? And I go, oh, yeah, I can do that. We arranged for me to go out to Oregon. Had never been to Oregon before. I literally got to the airport, the Oregon airport, and I'm going to Portland airport, and I was standing there next to the suitcase, or the suit where the suitcase was going to come off, and I was crying. And my husband called about that same time. He goes, because I had called and said, hey, I'm here. And he goes, I said, what am I doing? I'm in the middle. I'm from Ohio. I'm in Oregon. What am I doing? He goes, you're going to go get a new job. And I went, okay, fine. Got my rental car, drove down to Canby, interviewed with, at that time, Paul, Jason, Sean, and a couple other folks there at HawkSoft. And by the end of the second day I was there, he offered me a job, and I said,
Mm.
absolutely yes.
You had this natural resistance to the idea of, oh, do I want to be a quote unquote salesperson? Do I
Hmm.
want to have to hit these numbers? Do I want to have to be, pushing people to commit to something?
Hmm.
Um, but it sounds like what you found in the actual position in talking with, Paul Hawkins and the team back in at HawkSoft, that wasn't going to be the expectation for you.
Right. Correct. No, just simply build that relationship, which I love doing.
Mm.
I had one of the best mentors you could ever have, Paul and Chris,
Hmm.
to bring me along. Actually, the first year or so, I was going, what was he thinking when he hired me? Because I didn't have that much confidence
Hmm.
with presenting and things like that. But, they guide you along. There's never any questions you can't ask at HawkSoft and get help.
I really appreciate you setting us up that way, because I feel like that is very similar to a lot of the sales team at HawkSoft have similar stories on how they joined the team. I can think of maybe two individuals in the history of the sales team, two or three individuals that were, dyed in the wool salespeople. You mentioned Chris Lejeune. Um, he was one of them, and I think important to the history of the sales team. But then also balanced by your perspective of not being a salesperson, not
Mhm.
being this like, oh, I'm going to pursue this goal. I'm gonna, in your words, you're pursuing those relationships.
Mhm. And
Now
that
I want
comes
to,
from Paul Hawkins. That's the way he
yeah.
wants us
Top
to
down.
the top down. That's the way
Hmm.
he wants things done, which is wonderful.
Yeah, so I want to open it up and for Linda, more for you, and also for Paul Moyes here. So how would you explain the HawkSoft sales approach? What is HawkSoft's approach to sales?
I think it starts off with, we don't have quotas. We want to help the customers. And I think really, if you think about it, it's building relationship. What Paul asks us to do is build relationship with agents out in the market and let them decide. Give
Mm.
them the best information we can, and then kind of, it's all about the relationship. It has nothing to do with a quota. We do have goals. We do have
Hmm.
different activity metrics we try to hit. I know Linda has her own personal goals that
Hmm.
she tries to have, but Linda has never heard from me, hey, you didn't hit your numbers. Never. I started my career as a Northwestern Mutual Life insurance agent, and they had very strict goals and numbers. And I figured out real quick, I was 6 months into my career as a life insurance salesman, and I had sold two policies, one to myself and one to my best friend. And I figured out real quick that I was like, I'm not a classical salesperson. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going, I can't, I don't have it in me to be able to kind of push people to get the sale. And then when I started this team, it was kind of the same thing. Paul kind of had the same thing when he talked about Linda. It's like, it's about building relationships. It's the long game. You're
Mm.
not looking to try to get a check on your little sheet for today. What you were trying to do is build relationship, and then when they are ready, they'll come to you. And that's a very fine line,
Mm.
because sometimes, and I myself is a perfect example. I like going and shopping in stores. I'm one of those, I guess, a few guys. I like shopping, and
Mm.
there's sometimes I want to be sold, and a lot of times I'll tell the salesperson, like, sell me on this,
Mm.
because sometimes people want to be sold, but other times, and I see it a lot in the insurance industry, people are just like, they want to gather information. They want to
Mm-hmm.
they want to be able to trust you, and then when they're ready, that they'll come along.
Do you think that this approach um, shapes who a HawkSoft customer is?
I think so. I think there are people that are probably turned off by our approach. The
Mm.
more that they want to be sold, that they're kind of used to it. We turn down people all the time where we'll just say, I don't think we're a very good fit for each other, just personality wise. The way we handle conversations, we're probably not a good fit. We don't do any outbound cold calling whatsoever at HawkSoft.
Mm-hmm.
100% of our sales are people that are coming to us, and that changes things a little bit. So it creates this kind of family of agencies where we're all fairly similar. It's a
Hmm.
similar similar kind of family style. And if you've ever been to a HawkSoft user group, it's called the biggest fan reunion. But it definitely creates a type of customer.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think about that a lot, and that's often the advice that I give to our partners is um, I'll explain how we approach sales. And what I end with is, that means that the people who are with HawkSoft want to be here. We
Hmm.
didn't
That's a
force
good point.
anyone into this. We didn't
No one was
pressure
sold. No one
anyone.
was, yeah, no
Yeah.
one was pressured. It was definitely, they made the decision. They felt good about it. It wasn't, slick Linda kind of wheeling and dealing and convincing them. There's no convincing.
No,
Mm,
none at all. No. And I think another thing, Kenny, is the first 15, 20 minutes that we're talking, we're not talking, that we're with
hmm
them, we're listening. It may be prompted by questions from us,
hmm
to find out what's their problem, um, what are they struggling with, what do they want to
hmm
do. Now, sometimes they don't know, and that's kind
Sure.
of the downside sometimes when you're trying to really just pull information out of them. So, because if somebody's all personal lines, I don't need to show them commercial lines. I don't want to waste their
hmm
time showing them just features. I
hmm
want to, address their problem and see if we can solve it for them.
Yeah,
Sell the solution to the problem, not the product.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And Linda, you've worked with a lot of HawkSoft customers. Ohio is one
Mm-hmm.
of our largest territories.
Mm-hmm.
It is also one of the best states for insurance. So all of our very biased in saying this, but all of our best customers are in Ohio. Um, could you
uh,
describe what makes a HawkSoft customer tick? Like if you were going to pull up your phone book and just call a HawkSoft customer, what are they going to be thinking about? What are their concerns going to be? What's making them tick?
oh, they want to serve.
Yeah, I was
They
going to
Mm,
they
say.
just want to serve their customers, and if we can help them serve their customers, they'll want to talk to me.
mm,
Um, they're outgoing. They're just wonderful people. I mean, I can't think of, I mean, all of our customers, like Paul said, we're family,
mhm.
and that's the way we treat them, like family,
You
good
know,
family, good
one of
family,
our, well, yeah, the good family,
the good family side.
not the crazy uncle family.
Yeah.
One of the HawkSoft core values is do the right thing. And I feel like you could put that on 80 to 90% of the HawkSoft customers, that they genuinely want to do the right thing. They want it. It's not about, again, hitting that number. It's not about just selling policies. It's really
Mhm,
about protecting families. It's about protecting businesses, and they really believe that. And you
Mhm.
can see it. And again, that is a HawkSoft customer. And I'm not saying that if you're not a HawkSoft customer, you don't believe that, but generally, I can think of very few HawkSoft customers that if they get frustrated, it's because they're trying to do the right thing for their
Mhm.
customer, and
mhm.
then maybe we have dropped the ball that allowed, or that then cascaded down where they weren't taking care of their customer.
Something I often see is marketing or sales collateral in the wider context of the world, not just insurance technology, but that'll be very focused on if you have this, you can sell more. If you have this, you can make more money. Are those motivating factors for our customers for a HawkSoft agency?
What I hear all the time is, how is this going to help my clients? How is this going to help me? I don't think I don't think in where I've been to HawkSoft 13, 14 years now or whatever, but I don't think I've ever once heard, how will this help me sell more policies?
Yeah, I've never
Mm,
heard that either.
How will it
Mm-mm.
help me manage? How will it help me
Mhm.
service my customers? How, it again, it goes back to the type of customer that is attracted to HawkSoft. I think because a lot of our core values is that agency, and we do really well, and we really like that family agency, that they're third generation serving, in a small town. Everyone knows them. They've got the sign on the baseball diamond, sponsored by Smith Family Insurance, whatever it may be. That's the HawkSoft customer. I'm definitely a big believer in goals, but it can't be your driving factor. I think your driving factor has got to be your core values. And at HawkSoft, that's a perfect example. We have our core values that drive the company. The results follow. We don't start with the results and how can we work our core values into this. We 100% are behind our core values, and
Hmm.
then how can we make enough money to continue the company moving forward and innovate the product things. That's 3 4 down the chain.
Yeah.
Employees, um, our customers will come well before profits.
Yeah. So then I want to move into my next question here, because both of you have been to probably more trade shows and industry events than you can recall, which puts you into contact with a lot of different sales professionals. What is your experience with salespeople in the insurance industry?
Too many of them don't have an experience in the insurance industry.
I was
Mm.
gonna say right off front, you
That's
can
just
tell the
it.
ones who are not in this, who haven't been in the industry,
Mhm,
and those who've come from another. You can tell them they stick out like a sore thumb.
mhm. They can't talk the lingo.
Mm.
The COIs and all the acronyms that everybody uses. I think the biggest compliment, one of the biggest compliments I've ever gotten from a customer is we were about 10 minutes into the demo and she goes, "Are you an agent?" And I went, "Well, actually, I am. I don't always advertise it." She goes, "I just can tell. You're the first demo I've done where you're actually talking to me and you understand what I'm saying."
Hmm.
So I think too many in the pardon me in the industry just don't understand the industry because
Yeah.
it is it's an older industry.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Younger and younger folks are coming in all the time, but there's a lot of seasoned people, and you just have to kind of, and some of them have such a cut and dried approach. I think everybody I talk to is a different approach, like
Hmm.
an older person or a younger person, or how do you engage their conversation? So
Hmm.
I think to add on to what Linda says, I mean, Kenny, you've probably seen the shirt. I think Scott Howell, I'll credit him with creating it, but it says "Big Family, Small Industry." I think
Hmm.
does that sound familiar?
I think so. Yeah.
How I can notice people is that they are. I don't want to say that they are like the car salesman, but it's about get that sale. What can I do to
Yeah.
get that sale? And we'll have some of these salespeople come up. What can I do to get that sale? And I'll tell them first, dump that mentality. You
Hmm.
know, you need to change that, just to change the word. How can I get that relationship? Start with get the
Hmm.
relationship. The sale will follow. If you have a good enough product and it solves a problem that they have, the sale will follow, but it will not happen unless you have a relationship with that person. Become a trusted partner of theirs.
Yeah.
Sell them your partnership, sell them your technology. The product will follow if you've got it priced right. If it solves their problem, that it'll happen. But play the long game. It's a small industry, but man, it's a big family, and word will get
Yeah.
out real quick if
mhm.
you try to be the snake in the grass.
I agree with Paul there on that because I usually ask my customer, my prospects that I'm working with, what's your process? What are you planning on your process looking like? Is this a 2 month process, a 6 month process? I've literally told people I don't have time to call you every day. I'm busy, and so we don't hound people either. I always find out now. When I talk to them, I'll go, okay, now, okay, you're not ready yet. Totally okay. When would be a good time for me to call you back? And I think
Yeah.
too many people on other sales people are just too aggressive.
A very classic visual analogy that you'll hear in sales is, you want to make sure that as you're kind of swinging through the vines that you have the next one in your hand. But I think where a lot of people mess up with that is they want the shortest vines possible. They want to be zipping through the jungle
Hmm.
versus being okay with being a more leisure pace through it, like still getting that commitment to say, as Linda does, like, oh, okay, what's your process? When should I follow up? Okay, I will do that. And then if when Linda follows up and it's not the right time, okay, give me guidance on the next time to follow up. There's like a dictation of well, my process in sales funnel says that I need to talk to you every week and I need to have a meeting with you every Wednesday for 15 minutes. And if we don't do that, I'm not going to close this deal in my time frame. And it's very like focused on the salesperson, not the agency they're trying to help.
There's some basic sales things that apply to, I think, to any sales. And unfortunately, I feel bad for some because it's a top down approach. If I was getting from Paul Hawkins that, hey, you've got 2 weeks to close the sale. And then I pass that down to Linda, hey, you've got 2 weeks to close the sale, be totally different conversations. So
Mm-hmm.
again, it comes to the organization from the top down. And I think go for the long game. It's hard at the start. It takes a while. Like Linda was saying, you kind of got to understand, act real quick, find out what their schedule is, get on their schedule.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to change to your schedule.
Mm-mm.
They're in charge. Find out what their schedule is, ask them, and try to match what their schedule, their budget, things like that.
Let's continue down this line, because I think that we I have learned a lot in my near 10 years at HawkSoft from both of you. And so I'd love to like get some more advice. The question I have is, how can salespeople better connect with independent insurance agents? What more advice can we give them?
I'm a huge believer in, and we talk about, and this isn't something that was new to me, but the upfront contract. Being very clear up front, here's what my goal is. Where's your goal? If things go well, where do we end up? And just be upfront. We talk about in our, again, this is from the Sandler Institute. It's kind of the sales training that we kind of ascribe to. But get that no. It's okay to get a no. Just letting people know up front, hey, it is okay for you to say, I'm not interested in this. If at any time during this conversation, I like to say, you pull the parachute, it's time to bail out of the plane. I'm not into this. That's okay, because it's just saved yourself some time and it saved my some time. Because what I'm going to do as a salesperson is I'm going to be chasing you.
Mm-hmm.
And until you tell me not to chase you, I'm going to chase you. That's what a salesperson does. We chase. We do a lot of chasing. And all you have to do is say, as a consumer, I'm not interested. And then the
Mm-hmm.
chase is over. And as a salesperson, once you hear that I'm not interested, stop the chase, because that's where salespeople get the bad reputation of, well, what if I throw in this? How
Mm-hmm.
about and I think the only question we ask after that we get the no is, I would like to know why and what I can do to do better. Just because at Hawks, we're always looking to improve. We're looking to
Mm-hmm.
improve as salespeople. Just all we ask is just tell us what the why was, and you won't hear from us again. If
Mm-hmm.
you have my number, reach out to us when available. But I think that's one of the biggest advice I can give salespeople, especially young salespeople. They're hungry. I get it, but get that no, and once you hear the no, leave them alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, just document it and go on from there.
Yep.
I usually postmortem a no.
Mm-hmm.
Just say, I kind of review what did I do, what didn't I do? Did I respond to them when I should have? Was I quick to the, respond? Did I treat them fairly? Did I do this? Did I do that? And sometimes, and I'll say, they'll say, no, we're going to this vendor, or we're going this vendor, or we're not going to do anything now. We're just going to stay where we're at. I always try to find out where we missed the mark.
Mm-hmm.
And because I want to let our developers know so we can improve for the future. I kind of
Mm-hmm.
throw it off, not just Linda wants to know. We
Yeah.
want to improve, so can I tell our developers how we can improve and do things a little bit better? People appreciate that we are empathetic to them and their time. And I always want to make sure in that, like Paul said, the upfront contract, I will admit that I'm a terrible clock watcher. We've scheduled an hour. If we get close and I've missed it, let me know. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
or if you want to go longer, we'll go longer. I usually have time. But I make sure that my follow-ups are done yet that day. They know their
Mm-hmm.
pricing, they know everything. And I personally follow up with a handwritten thank you card. I get more compliments on that. Thank you for the note that you sent us last time. We really appreciate that. So you kind of just read your clients and
Mm-hmm.
treat them respectfully and accordingly.
This is an older industry. It just is. It's probably most of your owners are going to be 50 plus, and they appreciate that handwritten note. They appreciate things like that. It does make a difference. Now, like I said, we are definitely experiencing a turnover as an industry, and newer agents and younger agents are coming in. But know your customer, and if it's
Yeah.
in our age, in our era, we appreciated that a handwritten note sent that just said, "Hey, thank you for your time." That's all it has to say.
Mhm. Oh, and I've done demos for people. Oh my God, or I'm sorry, I'm late. Can we reschedule? My mom passed away. Well,
Mm.
HawkSoft has the empathy program. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, do you know how much it means to a customer when you send them something, an
Yeah.
empathy it's just going the extra mile. Yeah, it takes an extra 4 minutes to do something like that, but boy, I'll tell you what, it pays in the long run.
If I could crystallize the advice that you guys are giving, it sounds like we would recommend people slow down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, because those handwritten cards, the Linda, you're famous inside HawkSoft for um, doing your emails in the evening. Kind of while
Late at night.
you've relaxed a bit, and then you're gonna do your emails, and you clear out your inbox.
Mhm.
But that's a process that takes time, and you're not rushing it.
Mm-mm.
And so it really sounds like the a key piece of advice that maybe we could put forward to the industry is slow down. It's okay to move at a pace that is not breakneck.
You have to rely on a pipeline. It takes time to build that pipeline. You've got to build that pipeline and let that slow trickle come in. You're just not going to get the flood.
Mhm.
And Kenny, one other advice that I would give to people in this industry, again, based on big family, small industry, do not talk down about your competitors.
Oh,
The word will
absolutely.
gets around.
Mhm.
You can try to compare features and stuff as best you know, because they're, as a software company, you can pivot, and something they did before they may not do. So you've got your strong areas. We're strong against this competitor because of this, but do not talk down to them. Do not,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know 100% about a feature pricing, don't even mention it, because
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
could end up looking bad. If you try to sell somebody on the weakness of the competitor, they don't see the value in your product. They're not going to be a sticky customer. They're going to want to move on. Make sure that you are selling on the value of your solution, not the weakness of your competitors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you do get a customer and you have treated them that way, I think our customers just stay with us
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
because of the way we treat them. And honestly, we've had customers leave. And then 2 months later, they call and go, "Oh, that was not a good idea. Can we come back?" Well, they were treated so well when they left, they're
Mm.
comfortable with
That's the other
coming
one too.
back.
Yep.
You know,
Treat them well on the way
they're
out
treat them
too.
well on the way out, they'll come back. Even if they say no, I always send them a real nice thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you. Continued success. If anything changes, I hope paths cross in the future again.
That's so key. It's when I started in product support, we get those calls every once in a while where it's someone like, "Hey, I want to, connect me to billing. I want to end my contract
Cancel.
or whatever, or
Mhm.
end my time with HawkSoft." And for us, it's always like, okay, that's a bummer, but you're focused on your agency success, and you have found something that is going to, for you, it feels like it's going to make you more successful, make you be able to service your clients better. Let's make this as painless as possible, because if it ends up not being that way, we still want you to remember us as we're focused on your success and your clients'
Hmm.
well-being, not the revenue you bring us as a company.
Yeah,
That's a
exactly.
bonus.
Hmm.
Okay, so speaking about not talking bad about competitors, this podcast, we always focus it as like a dialogue, because normally the two guests is a partner representative and then one of our mutual customers. And so we get the partner to talk about what they like and don't like about working with independent agents. You both bring a very interesting perspective because you were agents, and you both have a huge exposure to a lot of different independent agents. So I want to ask you both this question that we always ask, and it's a set. We're going to ask for the bad and the good. Start with the bad. We'll end with the good. What?
Oh.
And this is where I always remind people that this is a pre-recorded podcast, and we can edit anything out. We'll just throw a black screen up and run some silence or something. So, Paul and Linda, what is your least favorite part about working with independent agents?
I don't know that it's independent agent so much as it's the independent agency channel, and we move like molasses in January. It's just there's so much, and which is great. It's ripe for innovation. You get a lot of insurtechs come in. They're going to solve all these problems, and I've been in it long enough to be like, it's like pat on my head. You go, good luck with that. It's just, it moves really slow. I think that's my only, and even to the independent agents that are our customers, they move slow. You've just got to be patient and know that this industry as a whole moves slowly.
Yeah, I agree completely because sometimes those ones that go on and on and on and on. No, I do shut them down. I do stop following up after if they don't contact, if they don't respond to 3 or 4 contacts, then I'm done. It's, final
Hmm.
approach there, and we're not going to call them again. The only real problem I ever have with one of a prospect is if they in turn do not respect my time,
Sure.
don't show up with
Hmm.
no word or anything, because so that it doesn't happen often, and
Yeah.
it's pretty rare. So I really don't have any. Obviously, insurance has been very good to me. I fell into it. It's not something I planned when I was in college.
Everybody falls into it.
Yeah.
I kind of fell
No,
into it, and
you don't see little kids playing with insurance
it's
toys.
very,
I'm gonna be an
yeah,
insurance
yeah.
agent when we grow up.
I think sometimes the longer the agency's in business, and if it's generational, sometimes the younger ones are just riding on the coattails and they're not wanting to
Sure,
grow
good
as
point.
much, or they're not as interested in things like that. So, but
Yeah.
really no downsides too much.
I always joke that my like goal with that question is to start a fight. I've never been able to do it, and I think to
Someday.
bring that shirt back up. Small industry, big family. Like, um, I think by and large we hash out our problems, and so there isn't a lot of negativity floating around in the industry or with agencies. And I think if this could be a testament to how HawkSoft approaches independent agents. We're not adversarial to them, so we don't
Mm.
generate a lot of friction.
Mm-mm.
We're trying to help them. So then the upswing. I'd love to know both of your favorite parts of working with independent agents.
Oh, they're just fun. I mean, you get them, you get them on the phone. Sometimes they're real stoic and they don't say anything, and you just feel like, oh, come on, come on. And other ones, I mean, I have customers I'm still friends with that I wrote 17 years ago when I came to work for HawkSoft,
Hmm.
and we'll always have that relationship with them. They're fun. Um, they're exuberant.
Hmm.
They're wanting to help their customers. Most of them are just an absolute joy to learn and get to know.
Hmm.
They've all got their own stories. I love their
Yeah.
stories. Let's hear about, what do you do and your family and what are your hobbies, and you start running that report. In fact, I've had a couple of people say, Linda, we're really not going with you, but I felt too bad to tell you because we were having so much fun. And I went, it's okay. We had a good time and you'll remember that.
It's the people. Solid 90-95% have a story. They've got a
Hmm.
story, of their agency, how they came to be. And again, I'd love to know the data on it, but I would say a vast majority of the insurance agencies, it's a family business that's been passed down, and some of them are
Hmm.
big corporate type companies now, but still the vast majority of insurance agencies and the customers of HawkSoft, it's been passed down. Their great grandfather, and I
Yeah.
love that history, and then it's just a family, of kind of a family affair.
Hmm.
Yeah. I definitely would encourage. I think this is one of the things that you can really add to your life when you take down the veil of like I am strictly about sales and numbers and accomplishing these quotas and moving on to the next thing. Um, is getting access to these stories and these people.
Yeah.
Because like there's I won't name names, but I knew one of our customers for a number of years. I'd worked with them a lot, and we were at one point having dinner sometime, and I found out that they at one point were like a sought after person that would launch the clay pigeons for competitive skeet shooting. And I was like, that would never come up if I was being just
Right.
aggressive on a sales process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like those little exciting things you can learn about somebody, and like that just enriches the kind of tapestry of the lives and the people we know. Or I alluded to some of my favorite customers being in Ohio. They're not really, I'm not in sales, they're yes, HawkSoft customers, but they're more friends that I
Yeah.
have
Mhm.
and I've, up until I worked at HawkSoft, I had never admittedly thought much about the state. Although I will say that my mother is from Kentucky, and so I'm obligated to say that the Cincinnati airport is in Kentucky.
Yes.
That was often how I would think about Ohio until I had such great friends there.
Oh,
Shout
that's
out to Dan,
wonderful.
Kelly, and
Mhm.
Michael.
I work with an incredible team of people who are not competitive with each other.
That's good.
We
Mm-hmm.
share. We share
Mm-hmm.
information. We've got a meeting here in just a few minutes. The territory managers get together once a week, and we just plow through things, good, bad, ugly.
Mm-hmm.
But the less, I mean, I'm my biggest competitor. Somebody will carry the sales team one month, and somebody else will carry them the next month. You just couldn't ask for a better atmosphere to work
Mm-hmm.
in when you've got that. If you're in that cutthroat, like some of our competitors, they're cutthroat. Somebody calls in and maybe they were talking to me, I know I'm going to get them back. With a competitor, you probably wouldn't. I just like to see those. And Chris Lejeune was great at those kind of things. Paul Hawkins,
Yeah.
because when I originally started, I think there was 10 people at HawkSoft, so
Yeah.
we all pretty much got together. But that's just some advice, just for
That's another, yeah. And there's been times where Linda has reached out to me and said, I'm not clicking with this customer. Let's give them to somebody else. She found the customer, but
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't clicking. She's like, I'm not helping them. We're not connecting, whatever it may be. Let's get a different one. So, do not have that cutthroat sales organization
Mhm.
where you're pitting, sales rep against sales rep. If you can foster a team environment that
Yeah.
we as a company are helping a client, it makes it really easy to do it that way.
Mhm.
Oh, I love that. And I think that I we were sweating a little beforehand because we were like, oh, what can we talk about for a half hour? This is gonna be one of our longer episodes now,
Yeah,
and I could talk with both of you for another hour.
get a couple
But
of
I want to,
salespeople to start
yeah,
talking.
I want to be respectful of your time.
Salespeople, right?
I am grateful for both of your times. Linda, it's always amazing to find a reason to get to talk with you.
You too, Kenny.
I spend a bit more time with Paul,
Yeah.
but it's also great to talk with Paul about stuff that isn't our migration project. So thank you both so much
Thank
for being
you.
here today with us. I think this is going to be a very special episode. Thank you for watching today's episode. Click the episode description below to learn more about our guests and to view the latest podcast episode, as well as other content from HawkSoft. We appreciate you watching and hope you join us next time on the Insurance Perspectives podcast. Thank you.